So good morning and welcome to section 3 of this series webinar on how to find a job in 90 days and the various things that you can think of to do to accelerate your career. So in my experience, it's always better to use a hybrid method. Any recruitment project that I ever managed as an exec recruiter, we always said to the client, go hybrid. And it's exactly the same for you as a candidate. The energy is better if you've got lots of different streams of activity going on, and they all feed into each other. That's the really joyous part of it. So what do I mean by hybrid? So there's an absolutely outstanding career strategist internationally called John Lees, and he says that if you want to slow down your job search, do one thing and limit it to advertised positions only. And I bow to John on this because he really does know exactly what he's talking about. He's written about 15 books. And in fact, the firework qualification that I have is underpinned by John's work. So I'm a huge follower of what he says. So if you want to slow down your job search, do one thing and limit it to advertised positions. So you'll just miss out on most of the newly created jobs. You'll miss out on things that are going to be filled by word of mouth, small businesses, startups, all that type of thing. Just don't actually get out there and advertise. They find it in other ways. So there are lots of statistics out there about what the hidden market percentage actually is. But the hidden job market is a very, very real thing. And it's something as a job seeker that you need to get out there and actively get involved with. So we know that probably at least a third of all filled positions are filled via the hidden job market. But at exec level, that rises exponentially because it's just the nature of filling senior roles. And then there's executive headhunter, which was for over 20 years. Finding those highly qualified candidates was often just like a needle in a haystack. Part of the fun, of course, of digging people out and finding people that could meet a brief for a client that weren't obvious on the job market. So for me, it was always a positive experience to go out there and help that person get found. But my clients and I would always appreciate a direct approach from a candidate in that bracket who is ready to make a move and isn't probably yet that well known to that group of people. So even if there aren't roles available, it is worth making the effort to start to think about those organisations where you might like to work, those recruiters who could help you to get into those organisations, and to actually put your plan together to start to get known to those people. I've known in many, many occasions when we found a candidate that is just absolutely outstanding fit for a business, that even if they don't have a role, they either create one right there and then, or they keep that candidate in their pot of future, put them on the bench, as my colleagues at Yum would say. Let's put this one on the bench and bring them forward when we've got an opportunity. And you don't get forgotten. If you have done all the preparation we've already talked about in this webinar series, then you will be seen for the value that you bring to the business. The hidden job market is really quite a bustling world. And yet people have hidden behind their laptop and dug into job boards. Oh, what an error. Don't do that. So I think one of my colleagues told me that up to 75% of executive roles in the senior market are filled through hidden job market techniques. And that can mean it takes quite a long time for clients to fill them. But the reasons for keeping a role hidden, there's multiple reasons for a client to decide to do that, or for a decision maker to decide to do that. They might be doing an organisational reshuffle and not want it to be in the public arena, but they're looking at what talent is in the market that could potentially add value to their business. There might be a senior leader that's leaving, and it's going to affect internal morale, share prices, all sorts of things. So they want to keep it under wraps until they've got a great candidate coming in to fill that role. They keep it secret as long as possible. So that's always a covert job search. They might not have their bench, they might not have their succession plan well in place, and they can see opportunities coming up that actually they haven't got the people ready for it. So they're searching in the job market, they're getting those referrals, they're finding where people are to get people that could sit on their bench and be ready to go. Some organisations start to divert into new areas, so they need different specialisms in their business, so they're out there looking for that. They made an acquisition which isn't well known about or isn't known about at all. And as a recruiter, again, really valued the confidentiality that people would bring to us for those roles. But often they're filled by internal conversations, by somebody saying, I know someone that could do that. Long-term illness, that's one of the reasons that it can be covert. And then the one I absolutely love, cost management. They don't want to pay a recruiter, so they want to do it themselves and use their internal talent to help them find it. But then there's lots of other challenges, human challenges that creating change. But those are just some of the reasons why a job might be in the hidden market and not be out there for everyone to find. And because of the unsettling part of changes in leadership, roles are often just kept confidential right until that last moment. So finding somebody in the hidden market, we have to start networking, both sides. The client has to start networking, the recruiter, the decision maker. They've all got to get out there, they've got to activate their network, and you as the candidate have got to be, your mission is to get known by those people that are out there getting to know the market. So start networking today. Don't even think about it. Identify 3 contacts, former friends, colleagues, anyone that remote connections, people you can reach out to, and be prepared to explain to them what you were looking for. You need to have done the work that we've already talked about. You need to have clear goals about what you want from your move. You're driving this project from the outset, so you need to know what your destination is when you start to do this delve into the hidden job market. You've got to use your UVP to make yourself known to decision makers. You know why you're good at what you do. You know what your strengths are. You've already worked on that from the work we've already talked about. So get out there and share it. And have a systematic approach to how you manage this. Really work out who you're going to talk to. It's definitely no spray and pray job. It really, really isn't. So we've covered the importance of identifying a maximum of 2 job titles, roles that you're interested in. It might be those job descriptions, vary from organisation to organisation, but essentially no more than 2 job roles. Ideally, 1. It's so much better to have one focus. And as your marketing manager for Me Incorporated, Me Limited, you need to get focused on being creative about getting known for your skills and your experience. And, recruiters are savvy, they know what to ask. So you need to have done the work for when the recruiter or the hiring manager starts to talk to you. Don't be shy about deciding the direction of your search into the hidden job market. Consciously plan it. Craft your CV and your cover letters to be really noticed by the organisations that you're approaching. And I can't begin to explain how often in my recruitment days I would receive one of these cold approaches and think, wow, great CV, pick up the phone, have a call. Phone calls so much better than just online interaction. You remember them. I remember those people. So, well orchestrated, someone will pick up the phone to you and have a chat. Even if they haven't got anything that day, they'll put it in a file where they need it in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years' time. Who knows? I've just had a candidate, get a job that he was first approached for 3 years ago and just opened up the network. And there he is, an absolutely fantastic job, 40% pay rise. It's absolutely phenomenal what you can do by building those relationships. And remember, you're giving up your confidentiality too by approaching and going to people out there. So make sure you do it with the right organisations. And remember, one of the joys of being in the hidden job market is you're one of few, not one of many, like you are on advertised roles. So we've covered extensively the value of Me Limited, Me Inc., with an employee membership of 1. Now you need to get it optimized. So research the companies you want to work for. Do they align with your values? What does Glassdoor and other sites say about how they pay and what it's like to work there? And do they have the role that you want in their organization? LinkedIn is great for helping you find out all of that. You've got to remember, you're the owner of your brand and you understand it and believe in it. Hiring managers can sense that. And it's not arrogance, it's just facts. You know that you're good at this. Be yourself and promote yourself so that they get to know you and understand why you're good at it. So, ready to get going? My recommendation is make yourself the project. I've talked before about the fact that I see it as your recruitment is a project. Your 90-day plan is a project. You wouldn't do anything at work without knowing the parameters of what you've got to do, what the costs are in doing it, what the end goal is, what are the review factors, what are the learnings you're going to find out. So make yourself Project You. Find those companies are a good fit to your UVP and where you'll be valued. Start the research. So you need to be able to communicate your value. Make a list of about 20 companies. Probably it could be 50, but I'd say 20 is absolutely fine. Craft a cover letter for your CV for every single cold approach you're going to send out. Explaining in that letter why you're the right person for the job. Using your personal strengths, your hooks. We've already talked about all of that. The time-consuming element is then finding out who you've got to send the letter to. And it may be worth, if you have the funds that you can invest in a VA to do this as a project for you. It's absolutely feasible for them to do it and to get all the letters sent out, recorded on a lovely spreadsheet so you know exactly who it's gone to and why you applied to them. Always know your why you applied to them. In my journal, which some of you might know about, the big part of it is know your why and do your match. If you got invited in for a role in that organisation, is it a good 70% match to your values, job content, all of the important things? It really is worth working that out. A VA, a few hours could save you a lot of time and energy. So just a thought. Okay, remember, it's not a spray and pray. That's my final word on hidden job markets. It is something that you're doing really, really consciously in a targeted way. Okay, so other ways, hybrid ways, job boards. We all know about job boards, but they are your backup system only. Use them to help you identify the companies in your hidden strategy list, but do not rely on them. Do not sit behind that computer just searching job boards and opportunities. You're far better off finding people you can pick up the phone and have a chat to, an old colleague that you can do a Zoom with. Use your time really effectively. So use the job boards in a very knowledgeable way. Register on the main ones for your speciality so that you're aware of any market movements. It's really helpful. Set up alerts on Google for updates and news or roles in your area of speciality. I love a Google alert. I really do. And use the main boards like Indeed and Glassdoor. and LinkedIn, but industry specific boards. And if you're looking for a role in the charity sector, make sure you use the third sector websites as well, because they're not sometimes quite as savvy as using the hidden job market. There's a lot more advertised work in third sector, because they follow very strict guidelines, so it's worth being aware of that. So job boards, use them, register. Don't use a saved CV. You keep your CVs in your Google Drive, nice and safe, and choose which one you want to send to any roles you do decide are a 70% match you're going to apply for. Word of mouth, network, and then do some more networking. Honestly, the value of it is phenomenal. Follow the companies you're interested in on LinkedIn, and some that are aligned to the companies you're in, that you're interested in. They don't all have to be companies that you're interested in. Follow their comments on LinkedIn. Add relevant comments to whatever's being talked about. Do a daily check-in on LinkedIn. I would say morning and afternoon when you're very active in a job search. Make connections every day. Make some new connections. Reach out to some new people. And follow them as well. Reach some to connect with, some to follow. Top right-hand corner of LinkedIn, you've got a bell on the profile. If that's an organisation or a person that you are really interested in, click the bell. Get notified about all their updates. Ask people for informational meetings. There's a lot of research in the market. I haven't got time to do that today, but informational meetings, asking people if they'll just have a coffee with you and talk about a role or an opportunity or a brand or an organisation that you might be interested in. People love to help people. They really do. So do it right, approach it right. And informational meetings can be a great way to find out more about something you're interested in and introduce yourself to a business. Do voluntary work. If it's something that you want to make a career pivot and you are going to something entirely new, think about voluntary work. How can that introduce you to people, get you into an area of expertise and interest that might be no other way to do it? Think about that. And sometimes people find that doing the voluntary work actually, brings sparkle to their day job. And then they find they don't want to leave at all because they're doing something amazing in their own time. So, there's lots of benefits to doing voluntary work. Use your social media. We've again talked about this. Enhance your visibility in the right way. Make sure you want to be found for the way that you're out there on social media. Be talking to people so that when somebody's having a conversation, the person will say, I know you should talk to about that. They're a real expert. Be the expert in the room. You don't have to be the expert in the world. Be the expert in the room. And people will remember you and recommend you. We've talked about LinkedIn and reviewing your profile, ready for your job search. I've got webinars on my website, which are more detailed about how to do that. So free downloads, pop in and go and have a look at that. And there's lots of advice on there. Put open to work on your photo. Recruiters will search by open to work. Makes life quite easy for them. And remember, repeat the job title you want as many times as you want to in your LinkedIn profile. That brings you up on the search. And that is, invaluable. LinkedIn, it is not, a site that you can play with. It is your professional website for Me Incorporated. You need to use it well. Keep it relevant to you and your skills. It's not a social site. But sometimes people do put quite meaningful social posts on there, but it's rare. It's much, much more about professional understanding of a market, a view, opinion, help, all those things. So, use it as a professional tool. Advertise roles, we've talked about that. They can be on a company website. They can be on the job boards. You know what they are. But for whatever you do, know if you've applied to an advert, keep a copy of that advert, know what it is. So if you get called for it, you know exactly what you applied for. I can't begin to tell you how often that isn't the case. I was recruiting in like my last big recruitment project that I did actually was for a really senior role, 6 figures. Got my shortlist down to 10 of the advertised applications. I'd done a search as well. And 3 of the people had no idea. They couldn't remember what they'd applied for. And their first question was, so what was the salary? Well, I don't mind telling people salaries. I don't think it should be a secret, but I don't actually want it to be the first question. And if you don't remember what the job was and that's the first question, then you're off my shortlist. So know what you've applied for and have the facts. And if you can't remember, just say, I can't talk at the moment, I'll ring you back, and go and find it out. Use your creativity. Recruiters, I would say this, wouldn't I? But your recruiter relationships are so valuable. I've got my own recruiter relationships that I've built up over the years. But I'm still in contact with people I placed 25 years ago. Some of them I've placed more than once. Some of them have become clients. Some of them are just in my circle of people I network with, ask advice for, follow, because I really admire what they do in their world. And some of them I just have got as friends, and that is absolutely fantastic. And that all came from a recruiter relationship, because we do get to know people really, really well. So find your recruiter, find someone you connect with, find someone that gets you and can sell you into a client. It really, really is an important part of your search, is to find a recruiter who one day will meet you and go, yeah, you'd be brilliant for X organisation. They haven't got any jobs at the moment, but let me have a chat to the recruiter. Let me have a chat to the director. You find sometimes they'll create roles for you. They'll have you on their radar. The next job that comes up, you're in there in that shortlist. And yes, the recruiter gets paid for putting you there, but that's not all they're bothered about. Never was for me anyway. You are, part of the satisfaction. I love what I do. I just love finding people jobs that are going to be really, really happy in. And I love, as a career coach, helping people to find those jobs. So, find a recruiter that you can build that relationship with. It's absolutely invaluable and great fun. Okay. Follow and engage with LinkedIn news. That tells you what's happening in the world, and it's a great place to contact. Look for people on LinkedIn, not the job board. It's such a huge job board. I find it's quite depressing because they tell you how many people have applied and all that sort of thing. But it's you just need to stay engaged. Remember, your recruiters have got really good market knowledge, and will have skills on getting your CV over the line. So know your UVPs so that you can share those. Remember, UVP is your unique value proposition, and so you can share those and talk them through the recruiter so they get to know what you know about yourself. And finally, I'll come back to it. Keep track. My pet hate is candidate not knowing about a role that they've applied for. So whether it's been on the hidden job market, whether it's been a network connection, whether it's been on LinkedIn, whether it's been a job advert, put it on a spreadsheet, keep it in a black book, whatever, but keep a record of what it was, what you did, where you saw it, any information. Do your research on that business. When that call comes, know how to respond, because you've researched the business, and you know why you want to go there. So your target is to find a job you love, which has all the skills and strengths, opportunities for you to show what you can do. Go for it. And if you want to have a chat, I have on all my links, I've got a free 20-minute chat, no obligation, nothing to sell, just to talk to you about what you're doing, and how I might be able to help you. And if you do want to work with me, reach out. Let's talk about how that could work too. But I send you all the luck and in the world, but make sure that that is backed up with facts, data, and really practical ways. Because luck alone isn't going to do it. Thank you.